Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm Ralph.
I'm James.
And today we are discussing Ewok, the Battle for Endor. The
second singular Ewok, because, you know, in most of this movie, there is only one Ewok. But yeah, the second Ewok adventure, the second of the soon-to-be trilogy, if Ralph gets his way.
Hey, there's a promise at the end of this.
There's
a promise at the end of this. Before we get into it real deep, I just want to say, we mentioned there's news coming up on our socials. We mentioned Data Link. I want to bring this up at the beginning because we're going to be discussing what it is at the end. Yeah. But this will definitely affect the audio listeners.
Yes.
So if you're listening to this on the audio feed, listen to this whole episode or skip ahead. But it's definitely going to affect you guys.
Yep.
So look forward to that at the end of the show. James, you hadn't seen Caravan of Courage, and which means you probably hadn't seen this. Probably.
It'd be weird if I had, right?
You don't know when things just kind of show up.
No, I hadn't. This was my first time seeing this. I'd seen some stills. I'd seen a shot of the blurgs. I'd seen the GIF. Well, you and I have both been using that GIF quite a lot in the last few weeks. Yeah. It's a good GIF though.
It's attention grabbing, for sure.
I knew vaguely that the rest of the human cast weren't really in it.
Right.
You said at the end of our Caravan of Courage episode that, and I think a couple of our commenters said that, you know, don't get too attached to the rest of the cast. They're not really going to come back.
Yeah.
And wow, like I didn't realize it would be that abrupt.
Yeah.
This movie opens with the recasted dad getting killed off. The mum we never see. She's just face down. She's face down in the dirt. So I assume that she was recast, or was just a crew member who they put in a costume. We see
Matthew Wood.
Yes, Matthew Wood. There you go. We see, or Joe Johnston. At that time, I think it'd probably be Joe Johnston. Second unit director Joe Johnston. And yeah, we see Mace, who gets to tell Sindel to go and run and get to dad. And then he gets blown up as well.
Kind of off screen.
There's some ambiguity there. Redemption.
I mean, Mace. The lights go out on the thing, so
it might have just lost the hand.
Maybe he got shot in that.
Maces like to lose hands.
Yeah.
It's ring theory.
I'm all for it.
Justice for Mace.
Can I just tell you, I watched this one less than the first one for some reason.
Interesting. Okay.
Watching this again, this one's, I feel like it's done way better.
Yeah. The production.
The story feels more sort of cohesive. It feels less meandering.
The pacing is way better.
But it's still got pacing stuff.
Yeah, but I think there was less. I don't know. Maybe it's where I watched Caravan of Courage at home, sat on my sofa, playing with the dog, just having a nice time. And I watched this one. Yeah, it was very cozy. And I watched this one last night at work. So I was awake. I was focused on it more than I had been with the first one, I think. And I think maybe because of that, it felt like it was moving at a better clip. I was also watching it in between doing my job. I probably shouldn't have said that. Oh well. And yeah, it was I don't know, it felt better paced.
It felt more like Star Wars. I feel like it feels more like Star Wars than the first one.
Yeah, okay. I think they both feel more like the old animated Lord of the Rings thing than Star Wars.
Bakshi one?
They both feel like that more than Star Wars to me. But
it feels more like Willow. But what I'm saying is this has the tone. has the tone and feel of Star Wars. It's action, it's adventure. The first one really felt like Lord of the Rings to me.
Yeah. Well, I think it was heavily inspired. Again, story by George Lucas on this one. So maybe maybe it was a case of, because we know that he made these basically for his daughters who were Ewok fans. Maybe at that time, like a year later, they'd read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings or something, and now they were moving on to more like other fantasy stuff. And he was just trying to coming up with story ideas based on what they're reading or enjoying.
Right. This one definitely felt more emotionally driven, like Sarek, the
other crewman
storyline. Yeah, that storyline, and then obviously Cindel's storyline. Like I was like, oh wow, this is like
they gave her just a lot more to do. Like they trusted her as an actor more, which is cool, you know. And I think she was a lot better.
Yeah, she's definitely grown up. She seemed a lot older.
I mean, it was only a year later,
like
wasn't it? Yeah. But at that age, I think a year is a lot, you know, and especially if you've done one movie, you've been able to come away from it and then go. And probably at that point, she thought, I'm going to be an actor. And so it might have done some training or something in that time.
Probably also more capable directors. And the directors also wrote it, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, who directed this one? I know that.
Okay, so it's God, I should have looked it up. I should have paid attention while watching.
I tried to, but the director is so buried somewhere in.
It's Jim. I think I mentioned this last night. Jim and Ken Wheat.
Okay.
And Jim and Ken Wheat wrote Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
That's okay.
And then they also wrote Pitch Black, which this movie has shades of Pitch Black.
It does. It does.
Trying to get the fuel cells for the ship that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like
Pitch Black is just a remake of the Battle for Endor.
It is.
Can
we talk about the title?
Does that make Vin Diesel Sindel?
Sin Diesel.
It works. we know that Vin Diesel's a massive nerd and loves like D&D and stuff, and this feels like a D&D, like short D&D campaign. So
I feel like with the witch lady, what's her Shira? I don't remember character names. She feels way fantasy. She feels like, straight out of Willow.
Super out of place, and really didn't do a whole lot. Like based on screenshots that I'd seen and other things, I was expecting more from her as more of a bad guy. And for a lot of it, she's just, you know, in a cage with Sindel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was expecting more. I thought her deception scene where she like Galadriel the whites it up a little bit was interesting and sort of lures Sindel in. But yeah, I don't know. I think the fact that she was riding a horse whenever she was in human form just put me off. I don't like seeing horses in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's tough. What about space horses? Like
Blugs? Blugs are fine.
Skywalker. Oh no,
the space horses. One of the other Endor moons. Yeah, love that. Great. Give us those. Give us space horses.
It's funny because in the first one they call them flat out horses.
Yeah. I think that's what put me off. I was like, if they had been in this and they just referred to them as something else, I'd be like, all right, whatever. It looks like a horse, but it's a Zor her.
Like there's like no Hohas. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. I feel like so far there's already so much to discuss about this one than the other one. Just from a story standpoint, the fact that we're actually getting like bad guy characters is already an improvement.
So when they first turned up, like for a split second before we saw their faces, I was like, oh wow, are they Nikto? And like they look like one of the Jabba's guard species, like Klaterinians, Niktos, all of those guys, Barabba. Barata. And then like during that scene, it gave me massive feelings of the village episode from season 1 of Mandalorian as well. Bryce's first episode where it was like where they're coming in and raiding and everything. I was like,
I think those are the Barata.
That is, I think so.
That raid is cool. Reminded me of like Conan.
Or Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and that sort of thing. It's like all of those.
Yeah.
All of that. But any woodland fight.
Definitely fantasy oriented.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Raiding a village.
The way that they did the effects on the guns and the blasters was interesting, where it was just like a little flamethrower.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. It
looks like
very
American Gladiators or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Again,
It
or
was
like a stunt show. I think there's the Waterworld stunt show.
Yeah.
At Universal, and they have like a Gatling gun, and that's how they do it.
It's
like
just little flame. Yeah.
Like pop out. But I mean, hey, they didn't even have to do that. I don't even know why they felt the need to have some sort of flame come out of it, because he just put in lasers later.
Well, they animated the lasers in, so it was like, I didn't know really why they needed to, but something for the actors on set, isn't it? Something tangible.
A lot of effects, a lot more effects in this one.
A lot more.
And again, I feel like this is their proof of concept or testing out stuff for Willow.
Yeah.
It really feels like that. Her turning into a crow.
Mm-hmm.
You have a morphing
classic villain, like animal. Pull the cape over.
Yeah. But in Willow, they have the morphing sorceress who, changes into different animals.
Yeah.
I think that's the first movie with morphing in it. And so you could see that they were trying to do this kind of stuff. A lot of stop motion blurgs.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
And it's weird because sometimes they look really good and like they're absolutely fine. And other times you're like, one of them looks good, but one of them looks really bad. It's bizarre.
It's really, I mean, it's definitely inconsistent.
Yeah.
But again, this is 1985.
Mm-hmm.
You're still 7 years out from Jurassic Park, but you're getting there. Like you're getting there.
8. It was 93, Jurassic Park.
All right.
Yeah.
Still, but you're like, you could tell this is George Lucas. Like, I need to start figuring things out. There's one shot where Cindel's in Noah's spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly some sort of green screen or rear projection, but using miniature models to double as sets.
Looked fine. Looked like you could tell. We all are used to seeing that sort of thing, but it looked like as good as some of the stuff where it's superimposed against miniatures in and stop motion in the first Terminator movie, which was a year before this. But an actual sort of higher budget movie. It's crazy. It's interesting to think about what else was coming out around this time and for different budgets. So
85 was Back to the Future.
There you go. Okay, that's
So that's like the big one.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters was a year before.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did much stop motion. They did mostly puppets.
This was the same year that Wilfred Brimley did Cocoon, I believe.
Right. So I looked up his age when he made this.
50, right?
51.
51.
He was
Dude looked old always.
6 years older than me.
That's insane.
6 years older than me. And I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, man, I wish I could just play old men.
He just always did, didn't he? Like he because I looked him up as well. He died in 2020. He was 85. So he lived a good long life, but always looking like he was in his sort of mid to late 60s.
Right. Mark Vibert, I'm going to go to the chat here. He says he still hasn't seen this movie. Mark, you had a week.
You're fine.
No, you're not fine. This movie is awesome. Listen, you posted today. You tweeted or you Instagram out the image for today's show, and one of the hashtags you included was legends, and I was like, no. This is not.
I think I covered it pretty well. Wilfred Brimley is a legend.
Okay, yeah.
And Warwick Davis is also a legend. There you go. They are the legends of this movie.
Listen, dude, like this has everything that the first one didn't. It had action from the start. And sorry, Mark, I know you haven't seen the movie. It had major character deaths in the first 3 major character deaths in the first 10 minutes.
Just ruthless. It just slaughters the family.
And then the dad getting held at gunpoint and being dragged and then him escaping and getting
Escape.
shot, and then him just telling her, go, leave
Don't
me
look
here so I
back.
can die.
The first thing that she does, of course, is look back, but then
And
she
she's like
does keep
crying.
running. Yeah.
Her crying is definitely better in this one too.
Yeah.
I think about this one is better. I missed the narration.
I missed the narration.
Girl
And
Ives.
it's an Ewok adventure. I missed the Ewoks.
Really?
There wasn't enough Ewoks in this Ewok movie.
Okay. But okay.
Don't tell me that we got Tink instead, because F Tink. Like I do not like that character. I'm sorry, Ralph.
Teak is like right up there in the background. His little eyes peering at us. I love Teak. But as far as the Ewoks go, listen, you get the best Ewok, which is Wicket.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Chukatrak, but he died.
Yeah, but rest in peace. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the broken English?
That I could do completely without. So things that I could do without in this movie, the just constant talking from Wicket, Wilfred Brimley's hat and glasses, Teak, just all of Teak. Have that be another Ewok. Have that be an Ewok brother or something. And horses. That they're my big things that I didn't like about this.
It's like 90% of this.
Yeah. It's so funny, isn't it? You and I agree on so much Star Wars. I think these are the things that we definitely feel differently about.
I think the broken English is fine.
It
shows that they've been together for a while.
Yep. I think if it was the same level as it was at the end of Caravan of Courage, I'd be more okay with it. The odd word. But he's having full-on conversations. And, I've been learning Spanish for a couple of years now, and I feel like he's picked up English a lot quicker. And, I feel pretty good about my Spanish.
Are you saying it should be dumb?
No, I'm just saying that he shouldn't have picked it up so quick. He shouldn't be able to form complex sentences the way that he does.
Okay, so you've been trying to learn Spanish for how long? 2 years?
Yeah, about that. Not quite.
But in the meantime, you've also podcasted. You have TV to watch, movies to go see,
a job,
girlfriend, a job. These two, Wicket and Sindel, aren't helping fix the ship. It's been a year. It's a year of them two just hanging out. Like, he figured out Star Cruiser crash in a 2-minute scene.
Yeah. I love that he brought that back.
So now year of them.
I love that Star Cruiser crash came back at the end of this. Yeah. I thought that was great.
But it's the thing. So I'm just saying, if you're on Endor, they're not doing anything to help anybody. They're always sort of just sitting off to the side, hanging out with each other, playing with the horse, doing whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like he should be able to pick up English.
All right. Okay. And, the young minds, they learn, they pick things up a lot quicker. Yeah. Okay. You convinced me.
The other Ewoks weren't really, they would mimic anytime Wicket would say something, when they were trying to
just repeat
rip the floorboards out, and they would repeat words, but it was one syllable words.
Most of the time,
I feel like, I feel like the broken English. I hated it when I was a kid. I hated it. I'm like, why don't make him speak English? But this shows that this took place after the Battle of Endor, after Return of the Jedi.
You make good points, and I concede.
Yeah.
They are young. They are going to learn a lot quicker, and that is all they're doing. You're right. They're not doing anything else.
Right. Or they're learning to make pies. They're probably helping mom cook in the kitchen, or dad cook in the kitchen, or whoever's
pretty competent. They seem pretty competent in Noah's little hovel, which I thought was a nice little house.
Very, very fancy, but
very fancy. His tree house, in the stump of.
But there's still some Star Wars shit that gets in there, his sort of messenger bag with all the little hydro spanners or whatever.
Yep.
Harris wrench.
Yeah, Harris wrench. His explosion, like that he uses to get out of the castle. It's the same
Yeah,
sort of charges that Han uses on Endor.
could have been left behind in the
Could have
war.
been, or Han could have found them in a tree off camera when they were looking for Leia. Yeah, could have been, but I like things like that. Props, recurring props from the Star Wars
Yeah,
galaxy are always nice to see.
I thought the blasters looked pretty cool. They weren't your
Yeah, all right.
basic gun kit bashed.
And they also look like they'd like some of the older ones, like Noah's one. It had clearly been there for a while. He'd had to sort of wrap it up and do a little bit of DIY on it based on what he had available, which wasn't much. I really liked his costume. I really liked his costume at the end when they're leaving.
The yellow one? Oh, the space one.
The spacesuit, basically.
Yeah.
Wasn't as fond of it throughout. Like the long sort of muumuu almost that he was wearing.
It looks, but it kind of reminded me of a fantasy. But there's like I think it's Ralph McQuarrie concepts for Yoda that have a similar hat and similar
long
thing.
drape. Yeah.
So it could be like a reused design. I know it looks like a gnome, like a garden gnome, but
definitely
like where I want one. Like I want to get a house, I want a front yard, and I want a Noah garden gnome.
A Noah gnome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool with his cane, his walking stick, and everything.
Yeah. Last time we mentioned the cave sets, which I didn't care for, because they looked too like television-y. This time around, the house looked cool. The caves looked okay. We got a little bit of case. The castle, the castle set was straight up, flat out a castle set from
just generic castle walls. Put them in reconfigure them.
The Beastmaster TV show or something.
Yeah.
Like it was really not great.
I could have done without the castle in general, but I don't know.
They could have made it. It doesn't make sense, and this is way too much analyzing for this type of thing. Did these people live here? Was this their castle? Are they? Yeah, the castle clearly has been there for a while.
But the fact that they want to get off world makes me think that they are native, like they are locals. But I don't know. The way that they're moving, the way that they are marauding and everything doesn't feel like that. It feels like they're sort of coming and going, but they don't know about like space travel. They don't know how power works, or they just want some power.
Yeah,
it has a moat.
I thought that was great.
They just wanted energy cells.
He wants his, but he didn't know what they were
or how they worked. He thought it was magic.
He thought they were magic, right?
Yeah. He thought it was a form of magic, which is interesting.
I think it's an interesting concept. I think that it's he finally gets his hand on an energy cell, brings it back, tells the witch to make it work.
Yep.
Like he has no concept of anything.
It plays into Endor because we know that the Ewoks, they have a shaman. They tell 3PO to use his magic, or they're scared of 3PO using his magic.
Right.
So it makes sense that these more primitive tribes or peoples, wherever they are in the galaxy, these two just both happen to be on this one moon of Endor. Like they see technology and things like that, or the Force, as just magic, just straight up like we don't understand it, therefore it is a form of magic. Which it goes back to Earth history as well.
I'm gonna go to the chat here real quick. Scott D says, "Not Warwick Davis doing the voice; it's dubbed."
Bummer.
But I did look at the IMDb page, and Kevin Pollak does a voice. It doesn't say what voice he did, but Kevin Pollak in Willow. He's also in Willow.
Could have been.
My sister says to Mark, if you haven't watched it, you have to. She says she watched it, so
you have to as well. I think that's fair.
Here's the thing, like, okay, I know what these movies are.
Yeah.
And I hold them on a different sort of grading curve than others.
You've also got the nostalgia for them.
Right. So for me, it's still to me, it's still Star Wars, and any Star Wars is better than, no Star Wars.
I agree with that.
And it might not be the greatest Star Wars, but I still enjoy being in that galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's one of those things. People keep on saying they want different types of stories in their Star Wars. This is it, everybody. This is a different type of story in Star Wars. And it's what I've always said is like, I want them to do different types of stories. I know that I might not like everything, and I might like things on a different level, but I like when they are trying to do different things. It's why I've been a book reader and a book fan, because they'll do different genres within that Star Wars galaxy. So far, with the Star Wars stories and the TV shows, we get like a bit of a war movie, we get some of a heist movie, we get a bit of a gangster story, but it all feels a little bit restrained by Star Wars,
right?
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing either, because we love Star Wars, we love the galaxy far, far away. That's why we're here. But it's
essentially like if you have the Solo movie without Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Darth Maul, like that's what I want. No connective tissue. In this one, you have Wicket, and then maybe like Deej and Logray, but I mean, really, Wicket's the only one.
Yeah. Logray's not in this one either.
No.
And Deej, it took me a second to realize that was Deej, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is funny because I just watched a Night Court right before this. We ate dinner, watched Night Court, and Dan's boss is the same actor that plays Deej.
Oh yeah, you said.
I was like, oh yeah. He just happened to be in that. He's in like maybe like 6 episodes, and we happened to watch one.
It's so funny.
The one right before we watched this.
I thought it was kind of cool that he got name checked right at the start when Cinder's dad was just like, go find Deej, and like it was like, that's cool. Like there's a respect there. They're like, we are the fathers of our families.
Yeah.
I
like sort of the creatures in this one. I know horses, but like blurgs. But like at the beginning, we get an attack by like some sort of dragon creature.
Yeah, the bird thing.
So much better than the spider.
Yeah,
so much better
way
than
better,
the spider.
way better.
Some fun stop motion, some fun puppet stuff. There's kind of a little bit of a dogfight, which was fun.
I think that entire scene felt like people responded well to the hang gliding in the first one. But we had fun doing it, but it was just a flyover. Let's do some more of that. Let's do a bit of an action scene with it.
Stevie's in the other room calling us out. It's not English, guys. It's basic.
You're right. Sorry. It is basic. It is a basic course.
Can I tell you one thing that I did like about the castle? Before I move on, it's in my
the moat with ceiling. The ceiling. Okay, great.
It was a model shot panning down through the rafters of the castle. It was a really cool model shot, and I'm like, okay, and then we'll get a pillar, or we'll get like a rafter kind of in the foreground to transition to.
There's no rafters in this.
Rafters. But the transition was so poorly done. It was so poorly done. I'm
so
like,
that must have been coming back from an ad break, sort of like transition. I feel like
it was awkward.
Yeah,
it was awkward. But I did like the use of models as set, especially the spaceship one. Even though it was awful, you could see like the green around her hair, like just. They're like, we're not going to rotoscope all those curls. But it was like, I liked it though. I thought it was so cool. I want to say that we just celebrated the 30th anniversary of Young Indiana Jones starting.
Yeah, 92 as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
So I feel like where this is a proof of concept for Willow, that Young Indiana Jones is a proof of concept for the prequels.
Yeah,
I want to say they took this stuff.
That was where Rick McCullen came on board, wasn't it? Was with that series. Yeah.
I've seen probably 2 episodes back
I
in.
remember watching them in the early 90s. Not all of them, but I saw a few. They were aired at weird times over here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw a few of them. I couldn't tell you what happened in any of them though.
right, right. Speaking of that moat, I love the
Yeah, the
moat
moat with
with the piranha.
the unidentified thing in it. At
Right.
first, when they put the stick in, I thought it was like just gonna be like an acidic moat that was eating up the stick. I
Oh,
didn't realize there was a
yeah.
thing in there until later on when they're
But I like that you see
swinging
the bubbles
across.
coming towards
Yeah,
very James Bond.
yeah.
They do that in You Only Live Twice when Blofeld shows off his piranha fish.
Mhm.
Um, so that's what I was thinking, and I do like that the bad guys were dispatched that way, like on the zip line. Like I think a lot of the action was, I think the action was the best part of this.
Couple of moments that like genuinely made me laugh were when like the big bad guy, Teak, was it Teak, the big bad guy? No.
No, Teak is the
Yeah,
dude behind. Teak is
the
that guy.
scurrier. Yeah. Um,
Tarek, because it was
Tarek.
hard because I think it was like Tarek was the bad guy, but
Tarek,
Sarek
Sarah. Yeah.
was his friend. And for some reason, I was like, does Sarek become Tarek? Like, did he?
And again, I go back to James's book corner in the High Republic comics. There's twin characters named Tarek and Seret. It's like the name
Oh,
backwards. Um, yeah. So I don't. I need to check the spelling on this to see if it's spelt the same. But yeah, it could
it
be a
could be another
reference.
Mace. It could be
Could be a
another Mace
reference.
situation.
Yeah,
Mace
absolutely.
situation where it's just
Um,
where we're doubling up on first names.
mhm. Yeah, maybe Cavan Scott can answer that. I might have to shout
Yeah, tweet
at
him out.
him. Yeah, well,
Do it from our
um,
account.
I will do.
All the attention. Need all the attention we can get.
And those authors are great.
There's some great bits. I when Teak, okay, you have the two marauders and they're
Mhm.
sitting there playing cards, not Sabak, but some other type of card game. And Teak's plan is to run up, stick the card up the sleeve, and run
I
back.
liked it.
Like that bit was great.
I liked it. Yep.
They killed each other over it.
Yeah.
Um,
No hesitation. No really accusing. It was just blasters straight out.
also, I love a disguise where someone's on someone else's shoulders.
Yeah.
And it looks like they really did that.
Yeah, it does. I'm pretty sure that was
I'm sure it wasn't Wilford Brimley. It's probably Joe Johnston, second unit director of this
Yeah.
show. I think he did a lot of that action. But to see Teak sort of trailing behind in the cloak,
Mhm.
so good.
And it's Tarek looks at them and he's just like, yeah, okay. And then just carries on about your business.
But that's the thing is you got to remember like, oh, these are like classic like jokes for kids shows.
Uh-huh. It's
And
very
I feel
Scooby-Doo.
like
Very Scooby-Doo.
I feel like this is perfect for watching with kids.
Yeah.
I think they would very much dig this. And then,
You know who the
I'm
bad guys are. You know who the
45-year-old
good guys
kid.
are.
Right. A lot
Yeah.
of great bits.
When the guards are hanging by the rope and Tarek just comes along, cuts the rope down, like no regard for them, and you just hear them. You hear them off screen. Love that. When the other guard gets shot, I think one of the Ewoks shoots him in the foot. And then all the other guards come run past and stamp on the foot. Love that.
Yeah.
There's some of the comedy in there is good. I feel like when it's intentional, it works.
Yeah, there's good bits during the action, and I guess it's called the Battle for Endor, so you can have a lot of fighting and stuff, but you got to lighten it up for the kids. It can't just be. We've already seen that it can kill 3 people. Sorry, Mark, if you're still here. So you got to add some sort of lightness to it. So I think
Mark is like me. He had it on his DVD shelf for years and just unwatched. So thank you, Mark. I agree. I did exactly the same thing.
But now that you watched it, you had to have at least enjoyed like the fact that you got to see new Star Wars. Yeah. And I know it's so far removed from Star Wars, but that's what's great about it.
I never mind watching things, and especially I watched it and I was like, oh, there's bits of that were rough, and I was like, but I know that I'll get on here, I'll have a conversation with you. I know you love it, and it'll turn me around on it. It'll make me. It's not going to change my opinion on it. I still think there's a lot of it that's rough, but I have such a fun time talking about it that it
But I
brings
feel
out
like
the good things. I'm not going to revisit it anytime soon, but
I feel like knowing that it's rough going into it helps
yeah,
out a little bit. I mean, there's a reason why nobody talks about this stuff.
yeah.
You know, people talk about the holiday special because it's so bad. It's so bad, and
And
there's
I feel
so
like
much.
it's because that's been buried as well. Like I feel like if
Right.
they just put that straight out onto onto Disney Plus, people would watch it, they go, "Oh, that's bad." And then the conversation around it would die. I think. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah. But I don't think this is obviously not as bad as a
No.
holiday special. Um, and but I feel like I don't know, I feel like this can get a following. I feel like
You
I'm
just want to
glad it's
make
on
your
Disney
third one,
Plus.
don't you?
Yeah, I really do. But I mean, wouldn't you want to see how they would do this now
I
with
think yeah.
because like I wouldn't say with I was gonna say with the pacing of a Mandalorian, which from my point of view, I feel like maybe episode 2 of The Mandalorian has similar pacing issues as these
Mm,
because it's a lot of wandering,
mhm.
one location, one locale. Um, but I feel like if you're to do one now, I mean, just go up to Skywalker Ranch and shoot around there. Just do
Yeah.
it the same way. It
Yeah.
doesn't, you can use the volume if you want to, but the charm of this is that it
Locations.
feels handmade.
Yeah, it feels
Everything
like
is handmade
a
from matte
fun
paint
project.
to blurgs
Yeah.
to flying dragons. Everything feels so handmade. And
Yeah.
the props, even though some of the props look cheap, um, when
They feel like the
was it
other
Wicked?
props that are just in the archive sort of thing. They're just there.
Yeah, but even like Noah's ship, like the model was cool.
Yeah.
The interior was cool. I
Yep.
like the turrets. I like his Noah's sort of cockpit area.
Uh-huh.
Like the console that they were flipping the switches on, you could tell it was like we took stuff from calculators and keyboards and
Kit
just
bashed it.
switches.
Yeah.
But it looked like it reminded me of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It really
And
felt like
like
Star Wars.
he's fully pressing a button when he's shooting on his turret, like sort of thing. Like,
Yeah,
and they animated it they put in the sound effects at the right time based on when he's shooting. And I thought,
yeah,
that's just it's an attention to detail that you'd think would get overlooked in a film like this, but
right,
it's still there. Like that people who are making it still very much cared about these sorts of things.
yeah. Ewoks with guns.
Ewoks with guns, great.
There's those shots where they're just running through the forest with guns.
So
Oh,
that's my
so
thing.
good.
Like it's called Ewoks Battle for Endor, and I feel like there's not Ewoks in the first half of the film,
Mhm.
and it's not really a battle for Endor. It feels like it's
It's not
more
a
like
battle
a
for Endor. It's a battle
it's
on Endor.
yeah, just a skirmish, in that part of the forest.
Yeah, it's a good title. I mean,
It's a good title, but I don't feel like it's indicative
uh,
of what we actually get.
but the fact that it's called the battle for Endor
Yeah.
leads me to believe that the Ewoks wiped out all these marauders.
At the end of this, yeah, oh yeah, no one
Yeah,
survived. They
yeah,
were eating good.
that's it.
They
So now,
feasted.
yeah, after this, Endor now belongs to the Ewoks.
Hmm. Wicket forgets how to speak basic, and
No,
then
no,
the
no.
Empire shows up.
This should take place after. I think.
Do you think? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Uh, we'll go tweet Pablo. I think it takes place after. I think it
Okay.
takes place after. We'll see.
We'll see.
Figure it out.
I don't think it takes place at all. But
Introduces magic that's not the Force.
yeah.
I mean, we got the fairies in the last one, which could be any like sort of just tiny luminous being.
I wasn't a fan.
But this one had like her ring,
A magic
where
ring,
she
yeah.
twists. Now, could be tech.
Could be, yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I
like
at the end that the dude turns into stone.
Yeah, I thought Tarek taking it off of her was quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's like,
locking her into crow form.
yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. It was just like, nope, thank you, that's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I thought was quite good. And yeah, Stevie just mentioned here, maybe the magic is a different way of using the force. That could be a kyber crystal. It could just be her way. Maybe she is a force sensitive, and that's just the way
I mean, we have.
she in tunes.
I mean, Zam Wessel.
Yeah, she's a shapeshifter.
She's a shapeshifter. So
Ahsoka like has a connection to her little owl thing. She doesn't turn into the little owl thing, but the two are definitely bonded in the force.
Right.
It could be something, could be anything.
Yeah.
Wave it away with the force.
Yeah.
Maxi Big, the force.
I'm gonna say all in all, I love this one. I like it more than the first one. I think the performances are better. I think the action is better. It's shot better. The story is better. The emotional impact of
very
Noah
different.
leaving,
Yeah,
like Noah leaving Teak behind.
Yeah, that was cute. Like I didn't like Teak, but I thought their relationship was cute.
What is it about Teak you don't like? Is
His
it the face?
It's the face. It's the face and the fingers. The fingers creep me out. And the face
weird.
just looks dead.
As Stevie says that she thinks Teak's face has a good range of motion, emotes pretty good. He's had mouths move independently of like his teeth, his eyebrows mostly looked dopey and sad, but
yeah,
moved around. I liked it as a design. This isn't Teak's only appearance in live action Star Wars. He appears in the boarding video of the original Star Tours.
Wow.
Speaking of cobbling things together and seeing what we have around. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have
Teak is in there.
completely missed that.
Teak is on Star Tours.
Out of my
So
mind.
Star Tours took place in space 1987, 2 years after space 1985.
Yep.
Is Teak going to find Noah on Star Tours?
I think he's got to be. He's looking for his friends.
Right.
Wicket's got responsibilities back home. So he's just sent his mate Teak off, who doesn't seem to have a family of his own, to go and find Noah and Sindel.
Right.
Sindel starting her reporting career.
It's as cheesy as it sounded at the beginning. I thought it was sweet at the end when goodbye is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like that moment, especially at the end, because it's a bummer. And she says she'll be back someday.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this at the beginning of the episode. They can't leave us hanging like that. They have to bring her back. I don't. They have to. I feel like
3 years for the 40th anniversary.
Listen, like Disney Plus is perfect for this stuff. You can make this thing cheap. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a whole show. It doesn't have to be a whole thing.
Would you be okay with it being one of the Lego shorts?
No.
Okay.
No. I can see it being referenced in the Lego thing, but I mean, listen, how hard your cast is literally 2 people, Sindel and Warwick Davis.
And he'll come back for anything.
You're shooting Willow right now.
Yeah.
Get a second or third unit on the Willow show and just pop him in the suit when he's
Wicket,
not one of his shooting days.
Wicket has a son who can be the Wicket of this new generation.
Right.
Wicket takes on the role of
the story could be paper thin. The thing is, the first one is like no story.
Yeah.
No story. This one is a pretty thin story, but they injected some actual heart into it. Like I really felt bad for Sindel. I felt bad for Noah losing Sarek. I was like, oh man, this sucks. Like being on Endor isn't a fun place. No. Even Wicket in this one lost his family. They're being held captive. So it's like the story for 3 doesn't have to be like Game of Thrones or, some complex thing. No, just give me an hour. What is it? An hour and 34 minutes and 28 seconds or whatever these are. They're like the exact same length. An hour and a half. Go shoot an hour and a half. It doesn't have to be a series. It's just a special, a movie, like a one shot. Just drop it. Just do it. It can't cost anything to make.
Write that spec script, Ralph. Do it.
It can't cost anything. I'll take out all the Phasma stuff. I don't care. It doesn't need to tie into to any of this stuff.
This sounds like a Patreon tier that you should be offering to people?
I don't know. I feel like Star Wars is taken so seriously.
Mm.
It's taken so seriously.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about these is nobody cares. Nobody cares to the point where they're like bitching about it online. You know, people get if people don't like Star Wars, they get mad and they let you know how mad they are.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
nobody's mad about this. You just sort of cast it away as a thing for kids, but at the same time, it's like, great. I can enjoy this Star Wars without anybody else shitting on it. Like, perfect. I want more of this. Give me more of this. And I'm sure once the third one comes out, everyone will come out of the woodwork and the hashtag will start trending Star Cruiser Crash. Because today, dude, they released images for Obi-Wan, which are
Yeah,
fine.
literally about an hour before we
But
started.
it said Obi-Wan Kenobi trending, also with hello there. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, hello. So as soon as they make Ewok 3, it's going to make me,
Star
all these
Cruiser
people are going to
Crash.
come out of the work and it's to say also trending with Star Cruiser Crash. And I'm just be like,
Hashtag Star Cruiser
maybe I
Crash.
don't want it. Maybe I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't think you do. Don't. It's the equivalent of don't meet your heroes. Is don't get a third Ewok movie.
I'll grab, these are 2 camcorders, VHS camcorders. I'll go make my own.
Yep. And yeah, they should be shot on VHS for sure.
I'll get my own. I think these were shot on film, but the
Okay.
4:3 aspect ratio, maybe a 16 millimeter.
Maybe.
I'll go make them. I'll go make them. And I won't show anybody because no one's gonna appreciate them like I do. But I don't want anybody seeing them because I don't want them to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because like if you thought that the speeders were too colorful in Book of Boba Fett, how mad are you going to be that Ewoks now speak perfect English across the board?
And now they'll also blink at the same time. They'll blink and
Oh,
speak basic.
tell me you didn't miss the blinks in this.
I definitely missed the blinks in this. I think the blinks would have made my feelings to Teak a lot better as well.
Let's get it done.
Let's get it done. Special edition.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, and before I go to work, we do have some more special announcements. Like we teased it at the front of the show. We are going to be changing our formats very slightly.
Very slightly. We're reverting.
Mm-hmm.
We're reverting back to our bi-weekly schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what's going to happen. For those of you listening to the audio feed, this is going to be like live action Star Wars old school. Mm-hmm. Every other week, we're going to be covering a bit of live action Star Wars footage and reviewing it. It's still going to be the live action review show. So that feed is going back to how it was before Book of Boba Fett. Bi-weekly. The one that means every other week, not twice a week. We need to come up with a better solution for bi-weekly, meaning 2 things.
Every other week.
Every other week. Right. And me and James are going to alternate our picks, and that's going to continue to go as our regular episodes. Now, here's where Data Link comes in. On the off weeks, we're going to do episodes not live action Star Wars related, not related to just like the movies, documentaries, and stuff. And those are going to be exclusively on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
if your primary way of watching us is YouTube, you're still going to get us every single week, every Wednesday, usually at the same time. The occasional.
So basically how this is going to work out is we have a show next week for the video viewers, and that's going to be our first Data Link episode. And to kind of tell you what Data Link is, if we're not covering live action Star Wars, this is the kind of stuff we're going to talk about. Next week, we're going to be talking to our friend from Portroids, Rick DeMint, who will be fresh off of his trip on the Galactic Star Cruiser. He has a trip that ends, he comes back on Tuesday.
Amazing.
We'll be recording live. We'll be recording live on Wednesday, discussing with him about his trip and everything we need to know about Galactic Star Cruiser. firsthand from a guest.
I was going to say this isn't
not
one of those written up reviews based on a promo package where people have been and gone, and we've all seen a few videos by now. We've got opinions based on the different footage that we've all seen. But it'll be awesome to get someone firsthand that we can ask any questions to.
So you'll definitely want to be in the chat for that, because with Data Link, I want to bring the chat in more. I want Data Link. Data Link is kind of like,
it's an informal chat. There's no
free form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not covering a thing. We're not doing homework. We're not asking you guys to do homework. Just show up and talk about Star Wars with us. If you've got any other questions about other things. So as we said, the Obi-Wan images just came out today. I'm sure that we'll talk about those next week. It just gives us an opportunity to do that and to keep these episodes more focused.
Now, a couple things, like there may be a week where we don't do a live Data Link episode. Maybe 1 week I'll let James off the hook. He can take the week off. I can do a lightsaber review.
Yep.
Use that
instead. I might finally be able to get Ed in to talk about his work on Solo, things like that.
Interviews, pre-tape stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, bi-weekly live action Star Wars, Data Link / mini episodes, bonus episodes on the off weeks. So it's going to be anything goes. And it doesn't necessarily have to happen on a Wednesday.
Nope.
If the trailer for Obi-Wan drops on a Monday,
that's when you're
free to jump on. That's when you'll get it that week.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like the Wild Wild West. Now, there was a little bit of conversation between my sister, me, and James on Twitter about ground rules.
Yes.
About ground rules. This is live action Star Wars. But here are the ground rules for me. Anything goes.
Wow.
Data Link, even though it's presented by the podcast Live Action Star Wars.
I think that's the key. It's presented by.
If you want to talk to me about books, I'll listen. if because you bring up books a lot and how they pertain to whatever live action thing we're talking about.
That's what I try and keep.
Yeah.
That's when I will probably bring up books, is if it relates to something. I write up my reviews. I'm working on stuff at the moment. You can find writing, and I want to do more Star Wars writing. That's where you're going to get my book reviews and things like that mostly. But when it relates to something else, so like when we're talking about Obi-Wan, I'll probably talk about the Kenobi novel that I read. It's been years since I read it, but things like that will come up. Big news like video games getting delayed because of reasons, and social issues will come up. I think a lot more in things like that. We try and keep them. We don't make an effort to keep them off of this, but we bring them up when they're relevant to this. Whereas if it's in the sort of the grander Star Wars sphere of things, that's when we're going to mention it. That's where we're going to raise these things.
Stevie said she had to look up what ABY meant. BBY and ABY means before and after Battle of Yavin. So before and after Space 1987 or 1977.
Yeah, before Star Wars the motion picture.
So here's one thing with Data Link. All 100%, and it's up to both of us. But I'm just letting you know right now. I'm okay with discussing animated series.
Wow. Okay.
Data Link, because here's the thing: is like the reason why we're doing this is because we're gonna burn out a live action shit way too quick if we continue doing it weekly.
Yeah, when there's months in between shows. Yeah.
So if there's stuff to talk about, listen, I do not want to do weekly coverage of Bad Batch.
We're not gonna do a weekly episodes on the animated series, but we'll talk about anything that comes up that we want to mention about them.
Like if I feel like doing a deep dive on the Maul versus Kenobi fight part 2 from Rebels.
Absolutely.
Spoilers. I would like to discuss that, but maybe not center a whole episode around it. I kind of wanted this to be a thing where we open up the chat more.
Definitely. So
it also toy guys says pop in just to say hello there.
Brilliant. But yeah, as Ralph said, like open it up to the chat more. So if you guys have a particular topic that is burning and you want to talk to us about it, that's where you've got to be. Like be there on the chat. keep an eye on the social feeds to see when we're going live. Generally will be Wednesdays unless something comes up. But we'll be tweeting it out. So come in, join us, and mention it. Talk to us about it. We'd
and
love
then
to.
make sure you hit the bell icon on YouTube. That'll send you an update when things are happening. Because, like I said, this data link thing, we might get an interview with somebody, and their schedule's not going to be Wednesday at 7 in the morning Pacific time.
If we can do it, if we can get them in, we're going to get them in.
Yeah. So, I'm excited.
It is exciting.
Next week, you'll get a better sense of what this is. We're going to have Rick on discussing Galactic Star Cruiser, something that doesn't fall under live action Star Wars, but we're totally interested in. And then there's
more. It's the most live action Star Wars. I can't tell.
I guess so. We have the section Star Wars IRL on our YouTube channel, so I think that might fit in there as well. But we'll have a whole section devoted to data link, and I'm really excited about it because, like, before we started today's episode, we just bullshitted about Obi-Wan. And that
now we get to do that and open the conversation up. It's great.
So look forward to that next week. But in 2 weeks, James's pick is
in 2 weeks' time, we have our next regular episode, and I wasn't sure if we were going to be picking it on the Data Link episode or on this. We've decided to keep the picks on the regular episodes so that those who just want to stick to these, who are just staying on the audio feeds, you know what to watch for now 2 weeks' time. You've got plenty of time. It's going to be a short one. It's going to be a fun one. And we've got to thank someone for this one. I will just find it. There we go. Jeremy Kelly. Thank you for recommending that we do this one. We are going to do Star Wars A New Hope bloopers.
Awesome.
Because I wanted to do something fun. I thought about doing another movie, but we've just done a couple of movies. We've done a couple of behind the scenes things recently. So we're going to just do the bloopers from A New Hope. We will tweet out which ones that we're watching, whether it's on Disney Plus or on YouTube. If there are any others that aren't on there that have been come up like from other video sources, please send them to us. We'd love to watch them. We'll cover them. We'll talk about all of it. Alec Guinness can be pretty funny when he wants to be.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot to talk about this. I brought this up before we started recording. The reason I call it data link is because I'm like, oh, that sounds Star Warsy. And I looked it up on Wikipedia, and this is all the information on data link that is available on Wikipedia. And for those of you listening, a data link was an application used to transfer information.
That's us.
That's it. It's not a big deal.
Nope.
That's it. Data link is vague and open to interpretation. And if you guys have ideas of like what it can be, let us know. Because I'm thinking interviews. I'm really looking forward to doing like pre-taped interviews and dropping them on the off weeks and stuff. We've had a lot of people we have some people who have agreed to be on that have agreed to be on, and we've had a couple people that said no, I'm not going to do it, but I think we could still get them on.
I think it depends on the format as well. Like they might be more open to just an informal chat rather than talking about a specific thing. So having them on a specific episode might be a bit more pressure, whereas just a chat, whether and it can be just about whatever is probably a bit more inviting for some of these guys.
Yeah. All righty.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, head over to all the links. Live Action SW is the website. That'll give you links to everything else, including our socials, which is at Live Action SW. Also subscribe to spread the word too. We need more folks. We're almost to a quarter of our main goal.
We want to get to 1,000. We are almost at 250.
Almost.
That's a nice little hurdle to get over, and then onward.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's it. We'll see you next week on YouTube, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on the audio feed.
Yeah. But until then, don't give in to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Punch it.